A lawsuit has been filed against a North Carolina state trooper, and it has all the makings of an action movie, a high-speed car chase, a lying law enforcement officer, and unfortunately, death. I'm America's attorney. I've been a lawyer for over 20 years. I've helped over 1.2 million people, and today we're looking at the case of Tyrone Mason. His death, the lies of the state trooper on the scene, the attempted cover-up, and Henrietta Mason's lawsuit. Let's get started. According to the lawsuit and the body cam footage that's been released, on October 7, 2024, North Carolina State Trooper Garrett Macario was parked at a Speedway gas station in Raleigh in an unmarked orange or red patrol vehicle. Around 2:28 a.m., he spotted Tyrone Mason driving by and decided to pursue him, activating his lights and siren. What followed was a high-speed chase down Capitol Boulevard. After about a mile, Macario turned off his lights and siren but continued following Mason. Seconds later, or perhaps seconds earlier, Mason lost control of his vehicle, crossed a concrete median, and slammed into a support pillar beneath an overpass. Though Macario arrived on the scene immediately after the crash, what he did or didn't do would become a central focus of the lawsuit that has been filed against him. After the crash, body cam footage shows Trooper Garrett Macario approaching the wreckage, but we don't see him check inside the vehicle to see if Tyrone Mason was alive or in need of medical help. Instead, Macario called his supervisor, Trooper Matthew Morrison, and explained that he had pursued Mason but turned off his lights and sirens just before the crash. Convenient. The conversation quickly shifted from reporting the incident to discussing how to cover it up. We hear Morrison tell Macario, "Sounds to me like it's Raleigh Police Department's problem." And then he proceeds to instruct Macario to tell the Raleigh PD that he had simply rolled up on the scene, even though he had initiated the high-speed pursuit.
Sounds to me like this RPD's problem.
All right, they're on the way. All right, well, that works.
I wouldn't mention anything to them about you trying to stop him.
No, I won't.
Just say, hey man, I drove up on this.
Yeah.
And leave it at that.
Macario agreed and followed that advice when RPD officers arrived, falsely claiming he had just come across the wreck.
Were you like pulling him over or something?
No.
You just driving by?
This is the little area I work, so then I came up on it and I saw the smoke.
He even declared the crash was fatal without ever checking on Mason's condition.
It's a fatal. Yeah, I rolled up on it.
In the days following Tyrone Mason's death, his family was told that he had died in a single-car accident with no witnesses. But according to the lawsuit, something about that explanation didn't sit quite right with his mother, Henrietta Mason. According to news reports, after being told by a witness that he heard the police pursuit, she launched her own investigation. She sent hundreds of emails to government agencies, hired legal counsel, and pressed the Wake County District Attorney for answers. Her persistence eventually paid off. The North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation opened a formal inquiry into the incident. It was only through this deeper investigation that the truth began to surface, revealing the trooper Macario had pursued Mason at a high rate of speed, failed to provide potentially life-saving aid after the crash, and then attempted to conceal his own involvement in the events that led up to the crash. That revelation is what led to this lawsuit filed by Henrietta Mason. The lawsuit brings two major legal claims against Trooper Garrett Macario under 42 U.S.C. Section 1983, alleging violations of Tyrone Mason's constitutional rights, violation of substantive due process rights to life and bodily autonomy, and failure to render aid. The first claim argues that Macario's decision to initiate a high-speed chase without legal justification and his deliberate attempts to cover it up showed a reckless disregard for Tyrone's right to life and bodily autonomy. We hear Macario tell Morrison that Tyrone Mason was going 70 miles per hour in a 40 mile per hour zone. The second claim accuses Macario of failing to render aid after the crash. Despite being the first and only responder on the scene for several minutes, he made no effort to check on Mason or provide medical assistance. I mean, watch the body cam footage. This allegation in the lawsuit cannot be reasonably controverted. The complaint argues that this inaction constituted deliberate indifference to Mason's serious medical needs, which is also a violation of due process rights. The lawsuit claims Mason's time of death was later determined to be 2:40 a.m., which means that at the time of Macario's phone call with Sergeant Morrison, Mason was still alive and could have potentially benefited from life-saving help, but none was given to him. The full extent of Trooper Macario's actions only came to light after the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation and the Wake County District Attorney reviewed dashcam and bodycam footage from the scene. That footage contradicted Macario's initial statements to the Raleigh Police Department, in which he claimed he simply stumbled upon the crash. Instead, the recordings revealed the truth, that he had actively pursued Tyrone Mason at a very high rate of speed before the fatal wreck and had failed to check on him afterward. The footage also captured the phone call between Macario and his supervisor, Trooper Morrison, during which they discussed avoiding responsibility and what story to give the RPD. Statements like, "Please tell me you're joking," and "just say you drove up on it," painted a very clear picture of an attempted cover-up. These revelations prompted both troopers to be placed on administrative leave. However, Wake County DA Lauren Freeman has already stated that she would not be seeking criminal charges against either of the troopers. Her report states that despite initially lying to RPD, Macario did eventually fess up within the relevant time frame. Despite not pursuing charges, Freeman has also stated she believes both troopers should lose their jobs. Yeah, no kidding. Let me interpret what Freeman is actually saying. Macario lied to the police. Now, if you or I lie to the police, we're getting charged with a crime, especially in connection with a fatality. You would think, but you would apparently be wrong, that if one police officer lies to another police officer, not only would that be like regular level criminal behavior, but it would actually be extra criminal. Oh, but you would be so wrong, because apparently it was important to her that once he was busted, he was like, yeah, I was lying. Here's the problem with this behavior by Trooper Garrett. The public's relationship with the police is predicated on our ability to trust them. And if we find out that they are lying to cover their own illegal or at least immoral activities, how are we ever going to trust them? It completely erodes the entire basis of how regular people are going to react with law enforcement. It's terrible. Now, if the court finds Trooper Garrett Macario liable, the consequences could be potentially significant for both him personally and for the broader legal standards surrounding police misconduct. The lawsuit seeks compensatory and punitive damages for the wrongful death of Tyrone Mason, including costs of medical and funeral expenses, loss of future earnings, and the emotional and financial support his family would have received. Beyond the monetary compensation, a judgment in favor of the Mason family could reinforce the legal obligation of law enforcement officers to render aid and be transparent in their actions, particularly when those actions contribute to someone's death. I can't believe that we need a lawsuit to potentially establish those principles. They literally have "to protect and serve" written on their cars, and I think they write it on their business cards. It doesn't say "chase and kill," and it doesn't say "ignore and let someone bleed out." I'm absolutely disgusted by this behavior. I understand, okay, maybe Macario's in a stressful situation, but his boss is telling him to lie to the police. I disagree with DA Freeman vehemently in that I wish that she would actively pursue the highest level of criminal charges she could possibly get against both of these police officers to set an example, not only for other police officers, but to us in the public, that we are entitled not only to halfway decent police work, but to integrity. That people who are supposed to enforce the laws are actually the good guys. Because I'm looking around and I see millions of people who no longer believe that. And now DA Freeman is just making it that much harder for people to believe. He has a lot of discretion whether to charge or not charge someone, and her decision to not charge these guys is hurting North Carolina, and it's hurting the U.S. At the other end of the spectrum, we have Henrietta Mason. It had to have been so devastating for her to hear that her son died in this accident. For her to assume that the police might be lying about what happened and to push and push and push is really brave. It's actually heroic. And I'm super proud of her for reaching out to a lawyer and not taking the police's statements at face value, but instead trying to get down to the bottom of the situation. I honestly hope that she wins a ton of money and teaches some cops somewhere some lesson. Because if we don't stand up to their illegal behavior, well, apparently the DAs are not going to. Do you think Trooper Macario should face criminal charges for the crash? Do you think he should lose his job? Anything? Drop your pro se opinion down below and let me know what you're thinking. And don't forget, while you're down there, to lawyer up with me, America's attorney, by hitting that subscribe button. It's a lot safer to hit that button than it is to hit a cop. And maybe you want to do both. Hey, I'll be back soon with more legal breakdowns. You won't want to miss it. I'll see you then. Bye. Against North Carolina State Trooper. Oh, hey. Indefinite articles will be the indefinite death of me. Wow, it's so bad. So bad, so bad. Me not good. Me bad.